What's going on, everybody? What is happening? Mark Farzy here for the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Drillers. Eagles start their season 1-0. Now, if you're one of those people that are like me and believe in, I think I even coined this term, moral losses. Like, I know that in the world we always talk about after you lose a game, where the team kind of still played well, but they lost to a better team. There's no moral victories. Okay, well, are there moral losses? Because I know the old adage from Mike Schmidt is the joy of victory and the agony of reading about it the next day. Like, that's Philadelphia's mantra, thanks to Mike Schmidt, right? It turns out the quarterback kind of feels the same way that you did. I thought after the game, like, oh, they saved the win. Oh, thank God. Oh, man. I thought they were going to win by 10 in this game. I thought it was going to be a little bit more comfortable than what we saw in terms of a 3-point victory. But nonetheless, they won the game. So I thought it would be a little bit more comfortable than 38-35. My final prediction was 27-17. It wasn't that comfortable, unfortunately. And that's mainly because of Jonathan Gannon and his defense and missed tackles. So let's jump right into it as we're going to get into this Eagles victory, as we're going to get into a lot of the post-game comments made by your head coach as well as your quarterback. And, hey, baseball happened. It was 7.5 hours thanks to a 3-hour rain delay, but, it still happened, and the Phillies won, and they're now a game and a half up in that second wild card spot above the Padres, 3.5 games up on the Milwaukee Brewers. So that's fun as well. But let's start it off with the Phillies. Let's start it off with the Eagles, and as we did last football season, I like to give you the top 5 things that I look at, okay? The top 5 things after a game, whether they're positive or negative. Now, this is a victory, so I'm going to err on the side of optimism and positivity. For the top 5 for today, the first top 5 of the football season. So here's what we're looking at. Coming in at number 5, going from 5 to 1 here, A.J. Brown. Have yourself a day, fella. A.J. Brown with the greatest debut by an Eagles wide receiver. Amazing. 10 catches for 155 yards, but no touchdowns. And after the game, he told NBC's John Clark that he was kicking himself for not being able to get in the end zone. And one play that I'll highlight when I talk about Jalen Hurts came in that third quarter where I thought he had one of the best sequences, Jalen Hurts did, that he has ever had as an Eagles quarterback. But we'll get to that. This is about A.J. Brown. He was the safety valve, without question, throughout this game. I saw in the early goings of this game in the first quarter, there were a couple instances where Jalen Hurts was looking to Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith either wasn't on the same page as his quarterback or couldn't come up with a catch. He had that drop down the sideline early. Then he had the back shoulder throw that looked like it was supposed to be a comeback route where there was no receiver coming back, unfortunately, and maybe Jalen Hurts got rid of it quick because, as was a big story for most of the day, the blitz was in his face all the live long day. So maybe he got rid of it too quick. But it looked like he and Devontae Smith just couldn't get on the same page. And after that, it was like laser focus to A.J. Brown. And you know who was up for the task? A.J. Brown was up for the task. No better example than one of the few occasions where Jalen Hurts had time in the pocket, dropped back, fired a ball downfield for a 50-yard completion to A.J. Brown, who was blanketed on the play. And the first thing I thought of was last week when A.J. Brown was addressing the media. He said, even when I'm not open, I'm still open. And he hangs the sign on his locker that says, open, always open, whatever, we're open, whatever. Well, now he's open. And even when he's blanketed, he was open. He was there for his quarterback. He was there for you, Philadelphia Eagles fans, to make the play. A.J. Brown first got to jump out at me right there in that game yesterday. Right after that, out of the wide receiver and into the backfield, we're looking at Miles Sanders. Hamstring injury had me a little nervous. He said he was good. What is he going to say? I'm 50%. Let's see what I get. No, he's going to tell you that he's ready to go. He's ready to party. He said earlier in the week that if he could go into this game, if it was the middle of the season, he would still play. He would play through it. If he had the injury, the preseason he wouldn't play. He didn't play. If he had the injury during the season, he would still play. He played, and he played his best game in a long time for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yesterday, the Eagles' leading rusher with 96 yards, just edging out Jalen Hurts, who had 90 yards. But it was off the charts what Miles Sanders was able to do. Almost 7.5 yards per carry yesterday. His first touchdown in 2 years. Not too bad, Miles Sanders. And The play he had on the third down that really helped set up the Eagles to secure this victory was one of the best runs I have ever seen. One of the best decisions and one of the best runs I have seen him have as a member of the Eagles, more so as the decision went. Because too often we have looked at Miles Sanders and said, stop dancing, hit the hole. Stop dancing behind the line of scrimmage, be a north and south guy, don't go for the big home run, and just try to get the yardage. Well, in this particular instance, in the fourth quarter of yesterday's game, when the Eagles are trying to bleed the clock and have all hope eliminated for the Lions, Miles Sanders gets the call, runs up the middle, nothing there. Waits a downbeat, still nothing, bounces it out to the outside and gets the first down to help continue to bleed the clock. I thought it was crazy because I was like, damn, that might be the best run I've seen. Certainly the best decision I've seen Miles Sanders make as a member of the Eagles, at least in recent memory. And then I'm reading our friend Dave Zangaro, and I go, oh, wow, look, Dave called it the same thing. Great minds. Great minds. Wonderful game by Miles Sanders, his best game in years for the Philadelphia. I absolutely was blown away by what he was doing for this team throughout this football game. And he played hard. Played very hard. You'd see him get contact. He would continue to run. He kept the legs churning. He made the good decision, like I just mentioned, and he got that touchdown to help the Eagles along as this game went on. So I was blown away by what I saw from Miles Sanders. Let the record show I started positive. First two of the five, very positive. A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders. Can we talk about this offensive line for a second? Can we talk about the penalties for a second? Because I'm not expecting this offensive line to do anything short of dazzle me throughout this season. Now, you guys have heard me ask the question many times to a couple of our latest guests. One was Trey Thomas. The other was Ross Tucker, both offensive linemen in the NFL. And I asked them, how does an offensive line keep a reputation as the best in the NFL when you go through some transition and you get another year older at center? You now have a second-year player who's starting left guard, your former starting left guard. It's now your starting right tackle. He really hasn't played that position at a great length. He's played every position on the offensive line, but he hasn't played right guard at length in his NFL career. So he is not a right guard, Isaac Seumalo. You listened to Jeff Stoutland last week talk about how great Isaac Seumalo was and all that stuff, and you're just hearing this offensive line. They're so great. They're awesome. Can we pick up a blitz, fellas? Can we pick up a five-man rush? Is it too much to ask? Because it seemed like the rush was in the quarterback's face all day. And Aaron Glenn, I give him all the credit in the world. Fine defensive coordinator. He got me all geeked up watching him on Hard Knocks, and he was extremely aggressive. And who did we have there? We had Hutchinson in the backfield, the second overall pick, trying to wreak some havoc. McCluskey was in the backfield trying to wreak some havoc. All these guys were trying to make things happen for their defense, and they did just that by breaking through the Eagles' phenomenal offensive line and constantly getting at Jalen Hurts. I don't want to see that again. I don't need to see that again. Look, there were plenty of battles between Hutchinson and Lane Johnson, and Lane Johnson won those battles. But for the amount of blitzes that were dialed up, the Eagles' offensive line was asked to do a lot in this game. I didn't really feel like they rose to the occasion. The rushing offense was great. When it came to running past the blitz, the running version of the offensive line, run blocking was great. Pass protection, a little lacking. That was the first negative thing I'll say. All right? First negative thing I'll say. So that's where we're at number 3. At number 2, when I watched this game unfold, I needed to see something from your head coach. I didn't see a lot from Nick Sirianni. I saw passion. I saw aggression. I saw a guy that after the game talked about how he had faith in his players, and that was great. But the penalty aspect of this game, when you talk about pre-snap penalties, that falls back to the head coach. And when I see either a false start or I see whatever, it's a holding even, like I see a lot of those penalties that weren't a problem in the beginning of last year, and now they're a problem in the first game of the season. It was loud in Detroit. Nick's saying he's going to talk to his equipment guys like he did after the game yesterday. I'm going to talk to the equipment guys and see if we can pump up the music a little bit more, pump up the crowd noise a little bit more, just so we know we can play with that for our next road game. Eagles are home against the Vikings Monday Night Football for the next game, so it's going to be a minute before they have to deal with that type of crowd noise. But nonetheless, it seemed like it was an issue, especially in early goings on. Maybe that was a communication problem that Jalen Hurts had in the early goings with A.J. Brown. Maybe it was a problem that he had with Devontae Smith as well. But I think that comes down to head coaching. I think that comes down to Nick Sirianni. They got the win. He had faith in his players, not totally ripping the guy. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but I would expect this team to be a little bit better off when the game kicks off when it comes to how the penalties went down in this football game. Number 2, Jonathan Gannon. I was pleasantly surprised by Jonathan Gannon's aggression through 3 quarters of football. I saw a corner blitz. I saw a safety blitz. I saw linebackers blitzing. I saw 5-man rushes. What? Jonathan, they got a turnover? What? This is amazing. Jonathan Gannon learned something in the offseason. And then the fourth quarter. The first 3 quarters with the missed tackles and all that, I'm like, don't be too nitpicking and all that. Don't be too nitpicky. Yeah, missed tackles are going to happen, right? And then the fourth quarter, and you saw the big cushions from the defensive backs to the receivers, and they were taking advantage of that left and right, and they weren't able to get home to the quarterback, and the only sack they got of Jared Goff in this game was when he dropped a snap. But as this game went on, the defense got worse and worse and worse. And I'm thinking, when are you going to slam the door on this team? And it wasn't because of a lack of aggression. For the people that are banging that drum like they were last year, like I was last year, talking about Jonathan Gannon and how he was not aggressive. He started to be a little bit more aggressive and blitzing more towards the end of the season. They were playing the inferior opponents. Well, you're playing an inferior opponent yesterday, and he was aggressive. My problem with Jonathan Gannon yesterday has nothing to do with the amount of aggression, with the amount of blitzing, with the amount of trying to get after the quarterback. It's got nothing to do with that. My issue with Jonathan Gannon has to do with soft zone coverage in the fourth quarter that we saw so many times last year, and has to do with the missed tackles. Right out of the gate. First drive. I didn't want to harp on it, but you have that big run from DeAndre Swift in the first quarter of this game. You allow your opponent to go 9 plays, 75 yards, 9 plays on a touchdown drive to open up the game, and they only face 1 third down. Okay, Jonathan Gannon, not a strong start, but let's see how this game goes on. Well, then they started to settle down, started to look good. Latter stages of the first quarter, throughout the second quarter, third quarter, everything looked good. But in that first drive, you saw James Bradbury miss a huge tackle on DeAndre Smith that he ended up breaking the big, 60-yard run for. That's great. And then after that, it seemed like it was highlighted more than missed tackles. And it was almost like you could tell which team in training camp actually practiced tackling and got ready for the physical nature of football, and the other team did not. Did not at all. One team looked like they were prepared to play football when it came to the defensive aspect of this, when it came to tackling, which is how all good defensive plays end, or interceptions, right? Well, at least I got one of those. But when I watched this game, I just thought it was beyond sloppy. And that's where I look at the head coach. That's where I look at the defensive coordinator, and that's where I also look at the head coach and Nick Sirianni again. Because it's his decision whether or not they're going to tackle to the ground, whether or not they're going to get used to hitting each other again, whether or not they're going to build that callus up. If you guys didn't see it, yesterday I just started, this literally just happened. This has been in the works for a while, but this is just how crazy this business works. I officially am doing the Jacob Media pregame show now on the Jacob Media YouTube channel with my friend Derek Gunn and my friend Seth Joyner, and both those guys are great, huge fans of both of them, and proud to call them my friend. Seth Joyner in the pregame show yesterday talked about building up that callus, talked about building up that mental callus as well when it comes to getting hit and giving hits. The only way you get that back isn't by watching film. It's not by studying. It's by going out there and, how about this? Actually hitting people and getting hit by people. Joint practices are nice, and you could win a practice, apparently, which I'm just learning about. But in all seriousness, it's not going to get ready for that game. It's not going to get you ready for that game. And I thought the biggest difference in this game was one team could tackle, the other could not. Now, Jalen Hurts was elusive. I give him every ounce of credit in the world about that. But holy Stromboli. I couldn't get – oh, man. My man, Avonte Maddox. God bless you. Jared Goff had that little scramble that set up I think it was a second Swift touchdown. Second or Williams punched it in, whoever it was. Jared Goff broke the pocket, started scrambling. Avonte came up, had a kill shot on Jared Goff. Jared Goff, little side step, whoop, moved right to the inside, set up touchdown. Oh, Avonte, I know you wish you could have that one back. I mentioned Bradbury had a couple of missed tackles. Hassan Reddick had a couple of missed tackles. CD Deuce, come on, brother. Couple of missed tackles in this game as well. It really, and Marcus Epps had a few whiffs, a few swings and misses there, unfortunately. But it really was like, hey, you know what could make us better at tackling? There, just hear me out here. More tackling. Please and thank you. Good Lord. I went 3 negatives. I didn't mean to do that. Miss Scusi. But the number one thing, and I think the most positive thing I could take away from this game yesterday, A.J. Brown, obviously I mentioned. Miles Sanders, I mentioned on the positive. Jalen Hurts, an absolute positive. Let me address a negative here for a second. I have already seen the argument on social media about Jalen Hurts running too much. And that's a pretty safe, I understand what they're saying when you just look at a box score and you go, oh, your quarterback ran 17 times? That's running too much. When at least half the time he's running for his life and to try to save a play, yeah, okay. I understand how you look at a box score and you go, that's too much. When you really watch the game, you really watch the film, and I went back and watched it a second time this morning, and I just want to make sure I'm not crazy here. And then sure enough, more often than not, Jalen Hurts drops back, gets to the top of his drop back, and goes, oh, damn, and has to get the hell out of the pocket. There were still instances. There was one great throw to A.J. Brown, I want to say it was in the third quarter, where he was rolling hard to his right and found him downfield. He kept his eyes downfield, wasn't looking to run, but was still looking to make a play. I always want my quarterback to be looking to make a play until he's got to hit the emergency button and just get rid of the football. And I'll tell you right now, just going from your last starting quarterback to this starting quarterback, I think one of the biggest saving graces between Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts is that Jalen Hurts knows when it's done. There's no Superman gene in terms of, panic, and just throw it to the opponent. Or, no, there's still a play here. I'll roll back the other way. And then sack, fumble, goes the other way. Jalen Hurts is brilliant when it comes to protecting that football. Absolutely brilliant. Whether it's somebody's in pursuit, like there are a number of touches, like countless, but there are a number of times yesterday where, for instance, Hutchinson would be on his tail and Jalen Hurts would be running out of the pocket and either keep his eyes downfield to try to make a play or realize he was about to get sacked and just get rid of the football. Couple of close calls there where he could have been called for intentional grounding. They could have thrown a flag on those plays. They did not. There was one right around the goal line. The Eagles ended up getting a touchdown later in the game. But there are a couple of different plays that, he could have been flagged for it, but he was smart enough to get just outside the pocket and throw it to the line of scrimmage so he wouldn't get flagged. That's a smart heads-up play by a smart heads-up quarterback. Jalen Hurts does that really well. Now let's get to the more obvious stuff. No play is dead with this guy. I appreciate and I admire, like I just said, that he does know when there's nothing there. But I know we talk about this with great quarterbacks. You always feel like you're in a game. With great quarterbacks, you always feel like you're in a game. Jalen Hurts hasn't reached the point of a great quarterback. You feel like you're in every game because he's your quarterback. He hasn't reached that point as far as I'm concerned. But in terms of a busted play, knowing that there's a chance for it to have success, knowing that when that blitz is in his face, knowing when the offensive line is being pushed back to collapse the pocket, he can still escape, or he can stand in the pocket like he did on that A.J. Brown throw down the sideline, stand in the pocket and put it in the hip pocket of his wide receiver. I told you last week leading up to this game, I will know Jalen Hurts has evolved as a quarterback, has improved through an offseason if I see him sit back and survey the field and deliver a throw. On that A.J. Brown throw, that's exactly what I saw. On that other A.J. Brown throw, there were 10 of them. But on that other A.J. Brown reception that I mentioned in the third quarter where he rolled hard to his right, found A.J. Brown down the field, that was a great heads-up play by that quarterback. And the accuracy he had on slant routes, that was a better quarterback than what I saw last year. I saw the work paying off for Jalen Hurts in this game. We talked about work ethic throughout the offseason, whether or not it would pay off. In this Lions game, it absolutely paid off. I saw composure. When he had the run, he ran. I didn't really get the feeling that too many times he looked to run. I didn't get the feeling throughout this game that it was only a one-and-done type of read. Were there a good amount of those? Yes, there were. But I saw the accuracy, and I also saw enough plays where he did keep his eyes downfield to look to make the throw as opposed to just run. If I had to really critique, if even going back and watching it, one of the thoughts I had was I want to just take extra notice here for how many opportunities there were on plays where he ran, where maybe there was a play to be made with his arm. Where could he have climbed the pocket in this scenario to try to find a target downfield? And the answer to that was no. No. There was one throw that I thought he could have made to Dallas Goedert, but he ended up scrambling. Instead of throwing for 10 yards, he ran for the 10 yards. And I'm thinking, tight in the game, does he want to take that risk of either a drop or he doesn't throw it well, whatever it might be? And it would really be nitpicky to say, oh, he had to throw that pass. But I thought every time he ran, it was justified. It wasn't just a quarterback, oh, I gotta make the play here on my own. I didn't feel like it was that at all watching the game yesterday. I felt like you had a pro quarterback. I felt comfortable with the way Jalen Hurts played. And for a lot of it, it felt like he was your offense. I definitely would like to see him complete a pass to more than, 5 receivers in a game? And I'm looking at the stat sheet yesterday. You had, other than A.J. Brown, only one wide receiver caught a ball, and that was Zach Pascal for 7 yards. A.J. Brown came up with 10, Dallas Goedert with 3, Gainwell with 2, Sanders with 2, Pascal with 1. You definitely want to see the wide receivers get a few more catches. Week 1, regardless of it against the Lions or not, week 1, I can look at that and go, all right, well, we got something to improve upon. But as this game went on, I thought for the vast majority of it, it was all about Jalen Hurts making plays, and your head coach said as much afterwards, where even if you did have a broken play or a busted play, Jalen Hurts was there to rescue it. I was very impressed with what I saw from Jalen. Far from perfect performance, but I was very impressed with what I saw from him yesterday. And for the people that are just, I've seen the argument, and I guess these are just haters, but I see the argument of people, Jalen Hurts sucked yesterday, ran too much, one read and done. I'm like, your offense scored, 31 points? Your offense scored 31 points? Your quarterback combined for over 300 yards for you? 90 yards on the ground, 143 yards through the air. I was okay with him. I did not think he was a problem. And I know he's going to be under scrutiny. Hey, look, he's a quarterback. Even if he was in the league 10 years, he'd still be under scrutiny, especially, with us in this city. But I was very impressed with what I saw yesterday from Jalen Hurts. What I saw yesterday from Jalen Hurts showed me the improvement. And I know a lot of people will just look at the box score. 17 times he ran. Yeah, because if he did it, you would have lost this game. If Jalen Hurts doesn't take off that many times, he's sacked, it's a fumble, he's forcing an interception. He made the smart play. I was very impressed with what I saw from Jalen Hurts. Offense scored 31 points and we're pissed at the quarterback. I hope that's only a loud minority that are pissed. If you're gonna be pissed at anybody, Jonathan Gannon and this team's tackling is the number one culprit for why they were bad, why they had to fight to win against the Detroit Lions. And look, I want to end on a happy note. Jalen Hurts played really well yesterday. They don't win that game without Jalen Hurts. Next week will be a harder task. You can't make some of the mistakes you made against this Lions team and make them again against the Minnesota Vikings and expect to win. And believe me, nobody wants to see them have their home opener and lose. So tackling needs to be a little bit better, a lot better actually, by week 2. I don't know how they improve that, but look, you got an extra day now because you don't play till Monday. So keep my fingers crossed that actually happens. So to recap it, looking at A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, and Jalen Hurts as absolute heroes of yesterday, and then looking at Jonathan Gannon, Nick Sirianni going, guys, what are we doing here? Nick, maybe we do practice tackling a little bit next training camp, maybe a little bit more. And JG, what was going on? I know you shouldn't be coaching fundamentals. These guys are professionals. But yesterday it seemed like a good old form tackle would help a lot of these guys. I was hoping the DeAndre Swift run with James Bradbury missing that as he just broke through the hole wouldn't be the MO for the rest of the game. It was. It unfortunately was. Dan Campbell, by the way, going for the onside kick and giving the Eagles field position, midfield. Thank you. Holy Stromboli. Pots and pans. Those are the top 5 coming out of yesterday's game. Please, by all means, let me know in the comments. I don't even have my comments up yet. Come on, Farzetta. What are you doing here? Those were the top 5 things that stuck out to me in yesterday's game. Let me tell you about my man, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. When it comes to all your jewelry purchases, go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut and see my man, Steven Singer. Ready for Love diamond engagement ring standing by at the ready. It's not just a clever name. And you can also get treated like a real family member at Steven Singer by a real jewelry expert. The perfect price is there for a reason, folks. It's to make you feel more comfortable. Not, how am I going to pull one over on this guy? No, it's not that. It's not that at all. You can relax. You can concentrate on all the beautiful, dazzling diamond inventory that you would like to look at and that finally you want to buy and you want to purchase. Steven's been in the love business for over 40 years in Philadelphia, taking care of you, his loyal customers. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Let me know in the comments what you guys make of this game. Let me know what you guys will put in your top 5 when it comes to reacting to yesterday's Eagles victory. Now, I started it off with this. The joy of victory and the agony of reading about it the next day. If you're someone that did a big exhale when Jalen Hurts was ruled past the first down marker on that 4th down attempt at the end of the game, if you're someone that went, okay, thank God, like I did, then you're not alone. And this is where I don't want to hear from people, too negative. Like, it's not about focusing on the negative. It's week 1. You played a team like the Lions. You can get away with mistakes against a team like the Lions. And who knows? Maybe the Lions go on and they win 12 games this year. I don't know. They're probably not. But anyway, looking at a game like this, you could get away with mistakes. If you're looking at this game and focusing on the negative and saying, yeah, well, they know if they don't play the Lions and play anybody else, they lose that game. Yeah, you're probably right. A lot of other teams, they probably lose to. But Jalen Hurts, this is one of the things I love about this guy. Jalen Hurts is with you. When it comes to the standard in which they set for themselves as Eagles players, they did not meet that standard. Here's Jalen Hurts talking about that yesterday.
I think for us, we walk away from this game and we talk about a standard for ourselves, and the standard, it only rises, you know what I'm saying? And we know we didn't play to the standard that we wanted to play to consistently all this afternoon. We know we didn't meet our standard, but it's a great feeling knowing you didn't meet the standard, but you still were resilient enough, had enough dog in you to find a way to win.
That's a way to start. That is a way to start. Resiliency, having enough dog in you, keep on fighting, keep on pushing. The Eagles should have won this game comfortably. My problem isn't on the offensive side of things. My problem is on the defensive side of things. If the defense played better, you're winning this game a lot more comfortable than what you did. The defense even had a pick 6. But as the game went on, they just had cracks throughout. And that's Jonathan Gannon's scheme. Don't allow the big play. Keep everything in front of you. When you do that in the 4th quarter, and you can't tackle, so you're coming, don't let the big play. Keep everything in front of you. Well, then I go up to make a tackle, whiff 20 yards down the field. That's a bold strategy, right? Pretty bold. But guess what? Your quarterback is agreeing with you if you think, well, you won because it was the Lions, not because you played phenomenally well or anything like that. Jalen Hurts went on to talk more about how this wasn't exactly the perfect game.
I think for us, we walk away from this game and we talk about a standard for ourselves, and the standard, it only rises, you know what I'm saying? And we know we didn't play to the standard that we wanted to play to consistently all this afternoon. We know we didn't meet our standard, but it's a great feeling knowing you didn't meet the standard, but you still were resilient enough, had enough dog in you to find a way to win.
Not the same one. PJ, that was the same one, wasn't it? Let me try this one.
I think it's about us in the end, and I think if we can be consistent and play to the standard that we strive to play to, that's how it'll look. We weren't. It wasn't this. It wasn't. It didn't meet my standards today. It didn't. I'll just say that. So there's always more out there. We're going to go to work. We're going to work our tails off to continue to take a step, make progress, grow.
This is why I shouldn't push buttons, folks. This is why I shouldn't push buttons. That's Jalen Hurts on yesterday's win. Not up to the standard, but it's good feeling to know that you can go back out there on the football field and win against the team. He doesn't say it, but like the Lions, you can still not put your best foot forward and still win a game. Yeah, it's pretty damn good. They were lucky to win this game in a lot of aspects. The defense played so bad in that second half, they were lucky to pull out this victory. But on the same note, the offense played so well, especially in that first half and in the third quarter as well, that they could pull out the victory. Big hat tip to the offense, not so much to the defense. And it feels really weird to say that in a game where you had a pick six. But everything else was leaving a lot to be desired, to say the absolute least, as this game went on. Now, the head coach also was asked to evaluate, as he is after every game, asked to evaluate the play of his quarterback. And he talked about how Nick Sirianni talked about how Jalen Hurts was able to go out there and salvage play after play after play.
He had complete control of what was going on out there today. He saw the field perfectly. He really did. And I'm really talking more about, you're doing this, we'll do that. You know what I mean? And he's going to have plays that he wants back, and we're going to have calls that we want back. But I thought he played a really outstanding game.
How big were his legs today?
Man, really big. Really big. And then, and then obviously we got that big roughing the, or what do you call it? Unnecessary roughness. But that turns into frustration, right? When he keeps getting out and go and boom, and it turned into a big play that ended up being a scoring drive for us. And so his legs were huge. What an unbelievable thing to be able to have as a coach. Oh, we called that, didn't work. He made it right.
That's what you get when you get a quarterback that can save a couple plays with his legs, more than a couple, 17 runs. I really did pay attention when I watched the game a second time. How much was him looking to run and how much was it him being forced out of the pocket? And with this offensive line, look, you're not going to pick up every blitz. I get that. But there were a lot of times where there was just too much pressure in his face. And he had to get out of there. There are examples where he was able to throw the ball downfield still, despite the pressure. And there was examples, plenty of those where he was running. I still didn't get the feeling that he looked to run too many times. I thought that his runs were justified in going back and watching it a second time. That was Nick Sirianni yesterday. All right, now here's the big question. And this came up last year. And if you remember, I think it was after the Raiders game, Nick Sirianni had a conversation with Jonathan Gannon where apparently things got a little heated. And what I took out of it, what I took out of all the reports about Jonathan Gannon and Nick Sirianni having a conversation about Gannon's defense was basically, hey, fix this. I don't know what you got to do to fix it, but fix it. I thought in this game already, I don't think the idea of Jonathan Gannon not being aggressive enough applies to this game, because in terms of aggression, when it came to blitzes, he did a lot of that. But when it came to just tackling and it came to that soft zone you saw in the fourth quarter, that's what bothered me the most. So right out of the gate, first game of the season, Nick Sirianni is already being asked about his defensive coordinator and what happened on the defensive side of the football. And here's what good old Sirianni had to say.
Obviously I'll have to go look at the tape. We just needed a stop in a certain area, and so I'll look at the tape and see what was going on. And but it was just, they made some good plays. That's a good offensive line. That's a top-notch offensive line. I'll always take my offense, the Eagles' offensive line over anybody in the league. But that's a good offensive line. They got a lot of talented players over there, and so they did it. And I think the kid from Philadelphia is a really, really outstanding back. And hats off to Ben Johnson, their coordinator. I think he's a really good. I think he knows what, really is good in and out with the run game and stuff like that. And so got a lot of respect for that team. But we'll look at it. We'll clean it up. And like I said, it's always nice. Nice to know that hey, we got a lot to clean up, and that's offensively, defensively, and special teams. But we were able to get a win. And in this league, on the road, on your first game, we'll take it any way we can get it.
That's Nick Sirianni after yesterday's game. I love the idea of him having another conversation with Jonathan Gannon, and he kind of stopped himself short there. Did you notice that? I'm gonna go tell Jonathan. I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna ask questions. First question: what the hell, man? What the hell happened in that fourth quarter? We're busting our ass all the game, and all of a sudden, 21 points in the second half. 14 points in the fourth quarter. What are you doing to me? Yeah, there's going to be a conversation had. And we will eagerly await that conversation. I don't think it has to do anything really with aggression. I think it has to be with playing tougher D, especially in the fourth quarter, not just sitting back and resting on your laurels. And then I think it also has to do with the idea of tackling. That shouldn't be that difficult. I know a lot of people will talk up the idea of Dan Campbell being an aggressive head coach. And if you watch Hard Knocks, you saw him out there doing up downs with his players. By the way, I didn't even mention this story in the show while Hard Knocks was really going on. But Dan Campbell apparently fell in his house and fell on his wrist and hurt his wrist real bad. Thought he broke it. Team trainer looked at it. You didn't break it. So then on the next day, he had to do the up downs with his players. And I just thought, hey, that's great. He kept to what he initially thought he had to do for his team to motivate them. He stuck with it despite tripping over a dog gate, I believe it was. And he still did the up downs. Then the next thing you know, first day of practice, they're hitting each other. He's got to convince his team afterwards, calls them all together. Hey, trust me, I'm not crazy. This is what we need to do to get to where we need to be. We need to do this to get to there. That's what he was saying to his team. You could tell the intensity was there. I knew that I told you guys before last week. I said it during the pregame show yesterday. I knew that the Lions were going to come out and score first because to match that intensity where the Eagles had not had that intensity throughout training camp wasn't pretty difficult. And what did the Lions do? They went out and they scored on their first drive. They only faced 1 third down on their first drive. Nine plays, 75 yards, like I told you earlier. 1 third down on that drive. That's a pretty intense football team, and they came out as they should have. Good for them. Eagles were later able to match that intensity. Jalen Hurts had them on a long drive as well. They were able to get in the end zone. They tied things up. They took the lead. Like they got momentum back on their side, which was great. But as far as the defensive side of things goes here, folks, I do want to hear what Nick Sirianni has to say, and I want to hear what Jonathan Gannon has to say about the way they played in that fourth quarter and really in the second half entirely, and how a defensive line that is supposed to be stacked, by the way, I thought did not get home nearly as much as they should have. And I thought in instances where the Eagles did blitz, there was one blitz, actually. The corner blitz by Avonte Maddox forced a bad throw from Jared Goff. And it was a burned down is all it was. But there were a couple of instances where you definitely were rushing them into mistakes. And I feel like that's something Jonathan Gannon has to do a lot more of this year compared to last year. I just can't get over how terrible the tackling was. And you could definitely tell which team practiced and what team did not. That was Nick Sirianni after yesterday's game, and I look forward to hearing what else he has to say today after he does get a chance to watch the film. First words out of his mouth when asked about the defense. Yeah, I got to watch the film. In other words, I'm going to buy some time. I'm going to buy some time before I really got to talk about it. Before we get to our awesome chat check that I look forward to each and every day, let me tell you about the great people at Manscaped. Because, fellas, you want to look good everywhere, right? That's where Manscaped enters the conversation with their biggest, ultimate hygiene bundle yet, the Platinum Package 4.0. Fellas, the Platinum Package 4.0 is where it's at. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is included in that. The Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer is included in that. And it all comes with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Plus, the Ultra Premium Body Wash 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, deodorant as well. Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner, and Anti-Chafing Boxers, as well as the Shed Travel Bag that will help you hold the goods you'll be using to manscape your goods from Manscaped. Manscaped is the leader in below-the-waist grooming. And now you can trust them with the whole shebang. Join 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy at manscaped.com for 20% off. Freestone Farm CBD. I'm sure you've tried different CBD brands. Well, if you haven't, Freestone Farm CBD is where you can start and end your search for good CBD. It's great after working out. It's also great for your post-workout. It's also great when just to help you rock you to sleep at night. It's even more exciting. Our friends at Freestone Farm CBD is offering you 20% off. That's right. They're offering you 20% off when you use promo code Farzy on your Freestone Farm CBD order. The menu is something you'll absolutely love as well. Their tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys don't get any better. They also grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all organic inputs and IPM. So there's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all their plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Just one look or smell, it's enough to let you know it's CBD done right. Oh, and how would you like 20% off? Once again, promo code Farzy at FreestoneFarmCBD.com for 20% off. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's a PHLSportsNation.com. How about Blue Chew? Fellas, you know what ladies find attractive? Handling a problem you may have in the bedroom. And if you have that problem, Blue Chew will like a word. Blue Chew is an online prescription service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form. Blue Chew's tablets help men combat all forms of ED. And again, Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so there's no embarrassing trips to the doctor or pharmacy where they might overhear your conversation. I'm sorry, what did you need? Oh, because you can't? All right. Yeah. All right, I'll get those for him. That was the one again? Yeah, okay. Like, that doesn't happen with Blue Chew because it goes to your house in a discreet package. Blue Chew's process is simple. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your first prescription within days. And it's all done online. Also, Blue Chew's licensed medical providers will work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's tablets are chewable. So it's not just a clever name. Blue Chew's tablets are also made right here in the good old US of A. So your experience will be American-made. They also prepare and ship directly to your house, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy. And once again, special deal for our listeners and our viewers. Blue Chew, you can try it for free by using promo code Farzy at checkout. Promo code Farzy, you just pay $5 shipping, but you get your first month of Blue Chew supply for free when you use promo code Farzy at checkout. There you go. All right, I want to see what you guys have to say about this Eagles victory. Nonetheless, it's still an Eagles victory, folks. Kevin, what's going on? Sean, what's going on? April, Mally, glad for the W, but defense looked terrible. April, everyone's with you. Everyone's with you. April and Mally, hello again, Mally. Definitely was a fun day in Philly sports yesterday. Oh, we'll get to the Phillies in the morning rush. Don't you think I forgot about them? Mally, April, I'm going to give it as it's the first game. Detroit O-line is stout. Detroit O-line was missing Halapulavati Vaitai, Big V, and they were fine. Very good offensive line. Dan Campbell, in one of his big speeches, was talking about how he put this offensive line against anybody in football. Okay. Eagles win, Cowboys lose. Yes, Dak Prescott injured 6 to 8 weeks. Thumb injury, has to have surgery today. Sean Gillespie, the Commodores. The Commodores. That was a band, wasn't it? The Commodores. What is the Commodores song? It wasn't Only You. That was the Platters. I'll think of it. The Commodores and the Giants also won. Carson not dead yet. Giants are no. I just think Daniel Jones sucks. Saquon Barkley, I think, is the best running back in football. Derrick Henry's great. Jonathan Taylor had a great year last year. Saquon Barkley has not reached his potential because of injury. But I think just on talent alone, I think he's the best running back in football. And I don't think it's close. If that beast, if I know everyone talks about Brian Dable, they talk about quarterback whisperer. Can he help Daniel Jones? No. I'm going to tell you right now, no. Daniel Jones is not an NFL quarterback. Daniel Jones is terrible. If he can somehow tap in to Saquon Barkley and Mr. Miyagi him so he's never injured, the Giants are going to have the best running, not just I think on paper talent-wise, but not just talent-wise. but I think numbers-wise is what I'm trying to say here, will have the best statistical running back as well. As I think the most talented, I think they'll have the best statistical running back in the NFL if he can tap into Saquon Barkley, 130 yards yesterday, whatever the heck he had yesterday. I just know that he went off on that team, the Titans, the former A.J. Browns, I should say. Now it's going to bother me if I don't find out what he put up yesterday. Saquon Bar, 164. Jeez, Samsonite. I was way off. Also had 30 yards receiving. So, yeah, he had a solid nice little day at the office. That's what happened there yesterday for him. But, yeah, Giants, Saquon Barkley, it's the only thing that catches my attention. The penalties, the stupid penalties, Mally, you and I are on the same page there. Those hits Hurts kept taking. When he would slide, you know what? Add this as number 6 and it's negative. What the hell, referees? You finally threw a flag on Jalen Hurts. Or not on him, but when he got hit late, going to a slide, whatever it was, defensive quarterback, whatever it was, it just kept getting hit. Finally, you threw a flag. And you know what it took? Do I have my football back there? No, I don't. You know what it finally took? It took this. It took a shoulder being put into his face. And then it took Jalen Hurts to do this. He slides, and then he gets hit, and then he does like the... For the people on the podcast, I just did a phenomenal pantomime of when Jalen Hurts was hit late. And it was actually called. And it kind of looked like that hit shook him up a little bit, and then the ref threw the flag. If there's one thing I could ask Jalen Hurts to do, be a lot better than Cam Newton when it came to those late hits. Because Cam would get up and he'd bitch and he'd moan at the refs. Instead of doing that, I don't care if you flop around on the ground like a fish out of water and you're just trying to draw the attention and make it look like it was worse than it was. I don't care if you go soccer on me and flop around on the field. Get that flag. The only way Cam Newton was going to get calls is if he act like he was injured. And he never did that. He'd get up and he'd yell at the ref. Don't take that tact. Go the other route. Because if a quarterback gets hurt, the NFL quarterback was hurt? Oh my goodness. One of our owners lost their wings. Like they'll be deathly afraid of a QB getting hurt. So that's how you do it. Act hurt. I'll take the heart attack for a second because I think he's fine. And that's how you get the flag. Not jumping up and bitching and moaning. That'll make the refs not throw the flag the next time. Instead, I think I got hit in the head there. And he did. And that's ultimately what I think caused the penalty, not necessarily that it was late, but the fact that he got hit in the head. Milk it, baby. But Sean, yes, a lot of hits he was taking. Yeah, Sean Malley. The delay of game. Yeah, April, that's the one I was fishing for earlier. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, the delay of game penalty. Hurts clapping it. They usually give that downbeat, as I'm sure you guys know by now. And that downbeat happened, and another one happened, and then they finally called it. And that's just poor clock management. Bad memories, clock management. Dan Schwartz, welcome back, buddy. Nice to see you. Dan's got vacation coming up, Dan. There you go, buddy. Going to Universal? There you go. I used to always want to go to Universal Studios as a kid and go to Double Dare. And I wanted to go to what was the other? What would you do? What would you do? This big Mark Summers guy. Both of us spell our name with a C. And friend of the show, Natalie Eganoff, and I, when we were both working for the 700 level show at then Comcast Sportsnet, she actually set up a Drunkle Dare with Mark Summers, because Mark Summers would go to the Frankfurt Hall in Fishtown and host Drunkle Dare. And it's Double Dare, except you can drink. And let me tell you, meeting Mark Summers, a thrill of a lifetime. That guy had a lot to do with my early childhood. We would play Double Dare. I mean, a lot of us did. We played Double Dare at home. We'd make up our own games, our own stunts and all that stuff. Physical challenge. I used to think that's what you could do in school if you didn't know an answer, and I just go raise my hand and be like, physical challenge. 2 + 2. Mrs. Lyons. That was actually my teacher's name, Mrs. Lyons. Mrs. Lyons, physical challenge. No, Mark, we don't do that here. Okay, I'll come back to kindergarten. I'll be here. I'll see you again next year. Thanks. Anyway. Beep. The Revenge of the Mummy. Is that the Brendan Fraser thing? Everyone's cheering Brendan Fraser because he's back now and all that stuff. Love Brendan Fraser. Encino Man. Very underrated movie. Very underrated movie. But Dan, welcome back. Mally, hello again. Boop. Mihai Sanchez. What's up, Mihai? Morning, Mark. Morning, everyone. That Detroit crowd was really into it in the first quarter. I wasn't really worried. Hurts' legs really helped us, and Brown was clutch. The Lions are a gritty team. Go out 1-0. There you go. You're 1-0 on the season. I'm with you there, Mihai. I need Devontae Smith to get more than 4 targets. I would like that too. I'm telling you, how it felt for me was that once they couldn't connect in that first quarter, I felt like Jalen Hurts was like, see ya, bro. And look, I know a lot of people. I remember when Zach Ertz set the record for most catches in the season for the Eagles, and everyone was yelling at Carson Wentz. He's focused on Zach Ertz too much. That I hate the fact that became a negative because it was such an awesome record for Zach Ertz. But like, this is one game. I don't think as the season goes on, you're going to be seeing AJ Brown get 10 catches a game. If he does, congratulations if you picked him up in fantasy, if you drafted him in fantasy. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that Devontae Smith is going to get his. I just don't think this was the game for him to do it. I think the early goings of this game, they couldn't get on the same page, and you're always going to throw to the guy that's open. AJ Brown was open a lot yesterday. So I didn't have an issue with him getting 10 catches. Sean Gillespie, the Commodores now have the best quarterback in the NFC for now. Yeah, you never root for injury. John Cheeseborough, what's up, brother? You never root for injury, obviously. Dak Prescott, 6 to 8 weeks thumb injury. Mally, Double Dare, classic, right? Oh, John, don't get me started. Don't get me started on Rockapella. Don't get me started, John. If I could find that show and where in the world is Carmen Sandiego streaming anywhere, you wouldn't hear from me for a while. True binge TV. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? You guys are taking me down memory lane here. John, is that the only physical challenge you would do? All right. Paul Keen? Jalen was good yesterday considering the pressure. He bailed the O-line out for a good bit. Could have had his eyes up a few times when climbing the pocket. But he made some nice reads after that first drive. Paul, I think you and I are on the same page here. I think, there were instances where, he could have kept his eyes downfield. I brought up the one play where Goddard was right in front of him, maybe about 5 yards, 6 yards upfield, and Jalen just tucked it and ran, which I was fine with. But I thought that would be nitpicking if he should have thrown it there. Yeah, he could have. He could have also just run it, and he did, and he got the first down. Finally, the reason for kindergarten failure, Double Dare. Sean, I think I've told you guys the story before of why I repeated kindergarten. I remember the exact moment. The teacher had, it was a piece of wood. It was like, it was in the shape of a shoe. Okay. And it looked like a shoe. There's like a picture of a shoe on it, and there's 2 laces. It was two little things of yarn. And the teacher, it wasn't Mrs. Lyons in kindergarten. It was Mrs. Condon. Mrs. Condon was my teacher at St. John the Baptist. This was in Rochester, New York. All right. I lived there for like 3 years in my youth with Left Ambler. Anyway. And before we came back to the area, I was in Rochester. So, Rochester, New York. So she comes around. She puts her hand. She's going around. There's a circular table. And all the kids, she puts her hand in the shoe, the makeshift shoe, and she says, okay, Harriet, tie the laces. And then Harriet tied the laces. And I'm like, oh God, I'm on Velcro still. Oh dear God. And she finally, I'm just like, I'm not an anxiety guy. I don't get anxiety really, but I think this is the first time I ever experienced anything like it. And she's like, okay, Mark, now you. And I'm like, oh God, oh God. So I take the yarn, and it wasn't a knot. It looked like I was holding her hand hostage in this fake shoe, and I just like put the things around her hand and was like, voila. And I'll never forget as long as I live. I'll never forget this. This is exactly what she did when I couldn't tie the laces. I'll never forget. It's exactly what she did. I'll never forget. It wasn't even like, nice try, Mark. It was like, you idiot. I'm going to be seeing you next year. And I remember she had this little clipboard. She wrote on it, probably like, well, this kid's a moron. Farzy kid's a moron. And then went to the next kid. And I remember thinking like, well, you know what? It's a good thing I find this class comfortable. This chair is very comfortable. And yeah, I went on to have 2 years of kindergarten. There we are. It wasn't double dare. It was because I couldn't tie my shoes yet. It probably wasn't the only reason, but it's probably the biggest reason. And I couldn't read good either. Anyway, speaking of old shows, I showed my kid Daria this weekend. Oh, there you go, April. Jim Grassmeter, Eagles didn't win without Jalen Hurts runs. Thank you, Jim. They don't win that game without Jalen Hurts. Every day, 5 p.m., I was glued to WHYY for Where in the World is Carmen San Diego. Sean Gillespie, tying laces. I still fail at that. You know, we all have our moments. The Eagles can't tackle. I can't tie my shoes. You know, all things we should be able to do. Boop. John Cheeseborough, how good did the Packers look competing without, or they look completely lost without Devontae Adams? They absolutely did. Mihai, how about those Phillies? Absolutely. John, I don't know why they went for that onside kick. Because they're gutsy. That's why. Morons. There we go. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Mally, I see you. That's funny. Let's jump into the chat check. No, we did the chat check. Let's jump into the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. First up, out of the gate, Jim Hyden has put the finishing touches on our second episode of Sky Drive already. Unfortunately, Nakobe Dean only played about 3 snaps yesterday. But guess what? He played the entire 25-minute episode of Sky Drive, episode 2. Avante Maddox, episode 1. Sky Drive, episode 2 is with Nakobe Dean, with our friends at Sky Motorcars, our man Brett. Already almost 1,000 views. We haven't even promoted it yet. So thank you guys for finding that. PJ did a wonderful job putting it together. It's I really enjoyed the conversation. My takeaway from my conversation with Nakobe Dean, this goes so perfect with just talking about me failing kindergarten. The man is brilliant. Off the charts, brilliant. Like, this happens to me more than it should. But you ever have a conversation with somebody and while they're talking, you're like, you are using words that I got to look up later. I don't even know what's happening right now. And your head spinning. That's kind of what it was like talking to Nakobe Dean. Brilliant guy. Wants to go back. If you guys know, he was a mechanical engineering major at Georgia. He is thinking about going back for either pre-med or chemistry. Mind blown, but good for him. Check it out. Second episode of Sky Drive available now on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. So make sure you guys check that out. Dak Prescott, I mentioned it. Thumb injury, needs surgery, 6 to 8 weeks. I had a horrible thought. An absolutely horrible thought when I woke up this morning and saw that news. That horrible thought was, are the Cowboys going to go out there and trade for a quarterback? Are they going to sign a free agent? There's no way Nick Foles becomes a Cowboy, right? Like, that doesn't happen. He's in the Colts organization right now. He's with Frank Reich. He's backing up Matt Ryan. But That wouldn't happen, right? That's not crazy to think about. Right? That's just a dark recesses of my mind type of thing, right? Okay, cool. Just making sure. But Dak Prescott's out. Cooper Rush, their backup quarterback, got snaps last night in their loss. I'll celebrate the loss to Tampa Bay. Tom Brady and the Bucks. So there you go. Other news, Albert Pujols, 697 home runs, fourth all-time now. And remember that Zach Gallen pitcher for the Diamondbacks? His scoreless streak finally halted. Phillies certainly helped him with that. His scoreless streak finally halted, snapped at 44 and a third. Oral Hershiser's record of 59 consecutive scoreless innings in 1988 is still intact. Phillies, ladies and gentlemen. Let's close on the Phillies. Phillies right now looking at the National League wild card standings. Phillies a game and a half up on the San Diego Padres right now. 3.5 games up on the Milwaukee Brewers, who are 2 games in back of the Padres, as fate would have it. Phillies 7-5 victory in a game that they refused to lose yesterday that featured a 3.5-hour rain delay. Come on, man. Rhys Hoskins, opposite field, 3-run home run. Alec Bohm, opposite field, 2-run home run. JT Realmuto had another good day for himself. I saw somebody, by the way. I believe it was Phillies Muse. I didn't miss you, Phillies Muse. I saw what you did. They took a rant that I did on JT Realmuto from like 3 months ago while JT Realmuto was struggling from the plate, and I believe just had 2 bad plays behind the plate as well. So he wasn't hitting, as we had already known in the early goings of the season, and he had a bad game behind the plate. At least defensively, be a great catcher. But even defense was evading JT Realmuto in the early goings of the season. And they posted it as if to say, I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to leave this here, I think is what they said. And I watched the clip, and I want to say this. I want to say, StatMuse, thank you for reminding me how brilliant I am. Because I thought that maybe I had said trade JT Realmuto or cut JT Realmuto or something ridiculous like, oh, Logan O'Hoppe needs to be up in the majors now and trade JT Realmuto away. Said nothing of the sort. What I said in the clip that they actually posted was the Phillies, who were under 500 at the time the clip was actually made, the show was made, had a catcher in JT Realmuto that was not at all playing as the best catcher in baseball, and he was not hitting like the best catcher in baseball, and he wasn't fielding like the best catcher in baseball. And the Phillies couldn't afford for JT Realmuto to be bad at both things. And then what happened magically? Oh my goodness, JT Realmuto started playing great again. And I'm not saying like he watched me and got motivated. All I'm saying is for whatever reason, somehow, some way, he found a way to turn his season around. And what happened when he turned his season around? Oh, my God, the Phillies started winning baseball games. Isn't that crazy? Just like I said in my rant from 3 months ago. I watched that, and I was like, oh, is this guy oh, no, he's trying to mock me. Or she. They are trying to mock me. All of Phillies Muse. But, yeah, JT Realmuto has been, and I've been documenting, I've been talking about it. Well over 300 over the last 3 months of the season. And yes, he again looks like the best catcher in baseball. And I even mentioned it because Rob Thompson mentioned it after the Friday's game, I think it was. JT Realmuto deserves MVP consideration for how he's helped elevate this ball club. And I could not agree with that more. So good job by Rob Thompson for that. And how about this? What did I say on Friday? Hopefully we talk about a Phillies team sweep of the Nationals. A team that's in the second wild card spot. And the Eagles winning a football game. Bong. All 3 things. All 3 things. That's what we're talking about. That's what we talked about today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show. Presented by my man, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Jim Hyde produced the program. Did a wonderful job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Guys, Eagles 1-0 on the season. It wasn't a blowout victory by any means. It wasn't nearly as comfortable as we wanted it to be. But the biggest thing I take away from that first game, the biggest thing I take away is Jalen Hurts' performance. I saw an improved quarterback from what I saw last year. And if you're only looking at the box score and you're only counting the number of runs he had and not going back and watching the game again to see whether or not those runs were justified or not, then you're doing yourself a disservice as a fan. Jalen Hurts, I thought, played a great game yesterday. They don't win that game without the way he played. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Talk some more Birds. Phillies with an off day. Monday Night Football kicking off tonight. And that is Russell Wilson's return to Seattle as a member of the Denver Broncos. The schedule makers really know what they're doing, don't they? Baker Mayfield goes up against the Browns, loses. And now Russell Wilson goes back to Seattle, where the 12th man, I'm sure, will be ripping their former quarterback. No, but for the first time, the 12th man will be rooting for the demise of their quarterback. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy. I'm Mark Farzetta. Talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.